Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Luba Workers Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com. And by JP Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, JP Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com.
From Collins on St. Charles Avenue in Uptown New Orleans, we're Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, Tulane University A.B. Freeman School of Business professor and director of the Birkenroad Reports. It's business, New Orleans style.
Hi, I'm Peter Raschuti. Welcome to Out to Lunch. Maybe this has happened to you. You stumble onto a great new show on Netflix, and when you tell your friends about it, everybody seems to know about it already. But for some reason, you never got the memo. My lunch guests today don't have shows on Netflix, but they have unique stories and successful businesses that maybe you know all about. But in my orbit, they've flown under the radar until now. Haley Saucier is the owner of Espiritu, Mezcal Glitter, and Cocina. It's a Mexican restaurant, but it's Haley's focus on mezcal that sets her business apart, not just from other New Orleans restaurants, but from bars and restaurants everywhere. With over 100 types of mezcal and tequila, Espiritu offers a specialty Master Mezcal Certification program that's the only school of its type recognized outside of Mexico. It's so legit that if you take the mezcal course at Espiritu, you get Mexican college credits. And that's just one aspect of Haley Saucier's intriguing business and life stories. Haley, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Hi, Peter. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a really big fan. Like, talk radio is one of my favorite things. I love NPR. I'm kind of like geeking out right now.
Danielle Smith has an equally intriguing story in business. Danielle is the owner of Electra Cosmetics. The company specializes in glitter. Danielle was working in healthcare when she bought Electra Cosmetics for $5,000 off a person she met at a burlesque conference. That was 2016. When Danielle moved to New Orleans, she started selling glitter to burlesque performers and cheerleaders. Then she realized she's living in a city where women don't quit glitter when they age out of shopping at Claire's. Today, Danielle calls Electra Cosmetics glitter for grown-ups, and her average customers are women from 30 to 60, including soccer moms and sports fans. Electra Cosmetics has over 100 types of glitter gels. They've supplied glitter to corporate clients like Nike, Crown Royal, and Dr. Pepper. And probably needless to say, Danielle has left her career in healthcare to dedicate herself to brightening the world with glitter. Danielle Smith, welcome Out to Lunch.
Thank you, Peter.
Haley, nationally in the U.S., sales of mezcal and tequila are the second largest spirit category after vodka. The Gen Z population is not drinking as much as their older brothers and sisters, but the nationwide market for mezcal and tequila is growing, currently at 3 times the rate of whiskey. Here in New Orleans, your restaurant and bar, Espiritu, has the widest range of mezcal and tequila in the city, and you're recognized authority on mezcal. And yet, I understand New Orleans is not keeping up with the national mezcal trend and is not as popular here as in other places around the country. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm definitely seeing it get more popular here. We have people come seek us out. We have regulars that live here that come, pretty constantly. Excited when we have new bottles, excited when we have new things going on. I think we in New Orleans think it's the center of the universe, and I will argue with people that it is. But we are a small city at the end of the day. Our population is a lot smaller than a lot of other places. So I think that is the main thing, is, we're small. We are very dedicated to our own neighborhoods, our own neighborhood bars. And Espiritu is in the CBD, so it's a little bit of a trek for locals. So it's one of the things of just trying to be like, hey, I know people in New Orleans are interested in this. Y'all just gotta, bop over and visit us. I promise parking's not that hard.
small and mighty.
Yes,
That's
we
what we're
punch
gonna go
above
with.
our weight. We definitely do.
Now, given your recognition by the government of Mexico as an educational institution where students of your Mezcal course earn college credits, are you marketing Espiritu in Mexico as a place where kids can come to do study abroad?
Well, we have talked to a few mezcal brands about doing some exchanges, mostly based on artist exchanges, which would be great for a city like New Orleans. But we are actually just teaching the Mexican government's mezcal education. So the Master Mezcal Certificate was originally available to people in the tequila and mezcal industry in Mexico. And then in 2013, a great, mezcal authority named Sergey in Mexico opened that up to the Mexican public. We eventually got the CRM, which is the mezcal regulatory body in the Mexican government, to allow our certified Master Mezcalier educators to teach that same program here in the U.S.
And now I can refer to you as Professor Saucier, right? I mean, is that okay?
Well, I only get to teach level 2 right now, and there's 4 levels, so.
Danielle, nobody in New Orleans is a stranger to glitter. It's sometimes almost literally everywhere, especially during and after Mardi Gras. So I want to start off with what might be a kind of a dopey question, but simply, what is glitter?
It's basically a metallized film, although it does not have to be metallized. So it's a film that is coated, and then they have these patented machines that cut it up into special shapes, usually highly reflective.
When I introduced you, I said you bought Electra Cosmetics off a person you met at a burlesque conference. What I omitted to mention was the reason you were at the burlesque conference. It wasn't because you're a burlesque performer. It was because you had a product you were selling that was a makeup organizer. So you've obviously been drawn to cosmetics in one way or the other. What is it about cosmetics that you find so attractive?
So with me, cosmetics is really an amazing way to express yourself. So that is one of the things that has really drawn me to being creative with makeup, sharing kind of how-tos and little tutorial videos. So for me, it's that spark, that shine that really can amplify yourself.
And Haley, I never get this right. I know there's a difference between champagne and sparkling wine. I think that's, but the other one is tequila and mezcal. So is all tequila mezcal, but mezcal isn't all tequila? How are you supposed to put that together?
So some tequilas are mezcal, if you talk to the right people. So I'll try to keep this short, but there's kind of 2 definitions of mezcal. There's the cultural definition, which means anything made of roasted agave is mezcal. And then there's the legal definition, which is really what we teach at first, so we don't confuse people. And that is, it's all based on what state in Mexico it comes from, what type of agave it is, and the production method. So real short answer on the legal thing, tequila can only come from Jalisco or a few states right around Jalisco. It only has to be 51% agave, and it can be made industrially. Mezcal can come from 13 states in Mexico, any type of agave, including blends. It's a lot more like wine than other spirits. And it's pretty much entirely made ancestrally or artisanally. And it's always 100% agave with no additives. We always say a mid-shelf mezcal is usually going to beat out a top-shelf tequila. And I love tequila. That's not it's just, the tequila we tend to get in the States readily available it's going to have fillers and additives, and mezcal won't.
So you are a tequila snob.
Some people might say that.
Danielle, why do you call it what you've created kind of a accidental business? What do you mean by that?
The reason I call it an accidental business is I never really expected that it would take off the way it did. Again, I was just there supporting my friends at their burlesque shows, Trixie Minx, Bella Blue, and it was a way that I could kind of enhance the audience as well as the performers. So, there's a lot of people that come to burlesque shows, and being able to set up in the back, and I've always sampled and given out my glitter when I'm at events, as far as I'll apply it for you. So let me know a little later if you're ready to embrace your shine.
Yeah, I feel I'm pretty bland here.
From the burlesque circuit, if you will, or working these burlesque shows, all of a sudden there were people that had art markets, and they're like, oh, will you come sell at my art market? And I'm like, sure. So next thing I know, my weekends are just like taken up from burlesque shows and art markets. And then there were some local stores that got wind of my product, and they were like, oh, do you wholesale? And I'm like, oh, no idea. So there was definitely this organic growth that happened with Electra, and with the Glitter Buffet experience. The fact is when people approach us, we're going to put glitter on you at no cost, and hopefully you like the product and you'll take some home.
Now, Haley, it's one thing to try to get more market share, in an existing market. It's another thing to try to boost that whole market. That's got to be a little more difficult.
Well, I think the market is boosting itself. Like you said, mezcal and tequila, agave spirits are the only really spirit category that we're seeing growth in right now. And that's because a lot of people are interested in drinking less but better. And, I was just talking about sort of the purity of mezcal and a really good quality tequila. The stories behind it, it's handmade. We actually go work with our producers and train our staff. I got a bottle of mezcal here that I worked on. I helped make.
You drank half of it before the show. That'll help.
But I think it's more of just getting the story and the education out there. There's so many people that come into Espiritu that are big bourbon heads, and they love bourbon. And they come in and they're like, I never thought I'd drink, clear spirits. But the stories intrigue them, the hand-making process, the history, and then they become, bourbon X mezcal guys.
Bourbon heads.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Especially when we talk about the limited editions and stuff. We have some bottles in-house that, we have the only bottle in the state of Louisiana because there were only 28 liters of this liquid produced ever, and it can't be made again.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Peter Raschuti. I'm talking with Haley Saucier from Mezcal-focused restaurant and bar Espiritu in the Warehouse District, and Danielle Smith from specialty glitter company Electra Cosmetics, headquartered on St. Claude Avenue. We'll continue our conversation when we come right back from this short break.
Out to Lunch is brought to you by Basics Underneath. Fine lingerie, personalized fitting, curated swimsuits, and workout wear. Uptown on Magazine Street and at basicsunderneath.com. And by Tracy Moore, broker, realtor, and partner at Rev Realtors, offering over 20 years of experience representing buyers, sellers, and investors. Learn more at tracy.revrealtors.com.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Peter Raschuti. I'm talking with Haley Saucier from Mezcal-focused restaurant and bar Espiritu in the Warehouse District, and Danielle Smith from specialty glitter company Electra Cosmetics, headquartered on St. Claude Avenue. Danielle, you have something I was kind of surprised at, is you're trying to work your way into to retail. Now, how tough is that? I know you mentioned Flirty Girl and places like that. Do they just have to see it and it's a pretty easy sell or not?
Well, I do find here in New Orleans that we have quite a few retail partners already, but we are trying to spread the word and grow outside of New Orleans as well, because glitter's fun. It spreads a lot of joy. One thing that's been so magical is when we see someone put glitter on and they look in the mirror and they just light up. And it doesn't matter the age, gender, there's some magic that happens. So for us, we're trying to figure out how to grow that outside of New Orleans more and find those kind of fun, funky stores throughout the United States that may want a product that helps spark joy, helps people shine.
When I knew you were coming on the show, I started noticing it everywhere, but particularly these. Are you the lightning bolt person?
Yes, yeah. So Electra, and I didn't name Electra. Electra came with the name already. When I purchased the company, I purchased about 6 colors of actually the fine glitters that you were asking about. And then I saw that people were wearing glitter gels at festivals. So I was like, oh, I'm going to start making glitter gels and see if people want to wear them. And I feel like, in a way, we've transformed the way people celebrate Mardi Gras. When I first started, I saw, some people wearing glitter, but we've kind of made glitter very accessible to people. So that way they can bring it in their purse when they, go out to Wine Wednesdays or drink some mezcal with their girlfriends.
I'm glad you mentioned the art markets. That's where first of all, I told Peter I was a fan. I'm glad he's here. It was so cool to walk in and see you because I've had your products in my vanity for years. I first encountered them at an art market on Magazine Street at Kauai Nola.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so like forever ago. And then I've been at a few events where I've had it put on that were like, in conjunction with She Comes in Peace.
Mm-hmm. Very retailers that are definitely close to my heart, both of those. Kanoko with Kauai Nola and also Dara at She Comes in Peace.
We do some markets at Espiritu and some drag shows and stuff. We haven't done burlesque, but we could set up a glitter booth.
Yeah, we should definitely collab.
We're right on the parade route for St. Charles.
How many business shows like this, and with drag queens? That's kind of that's our common denominator.
New Orleans punching above its weight again.
Do you have a something that takes it off?
So one of the things that I do love educating people on is how to take glitter off. So we always say with Electra that we're easy on, easy off. And if you visit the Glitter Buffet experience, we are actually going to sample the glitter, but we're also going to provide you with something to take it off. So we give out these little stickers, and you can take one home if you can't find your lint roller, and you peel the back off and you just tap it off and it comes off completely. So I think that's one of the reasons why we gained popularity, because our glitter dries clear and you can take it off. You're not going to be stuck with it, showing up, teaching your class, and your students are like, wow, where was Peter this weekend?
He can't get it off. In fact, that was just what I was thinking, if I could wear that to class tonight. So a couple of lightning bolts is all I really need. Haley, when you mentioned, when you say you helped make a bottle of mezcal, what did you do?
So we have been working with our house producer family, the Mendezes, since Espiritu opened. They make Buo Mezcal. And every harvest, they invite our staff to come down and stay with them at their house in Oaxaca for a week. And, they house and feed us, and you work on the farm. That's the trade. I wish we could send the whole staff, but we only have 7. So we send 1 or 2 at a time. And you harvest agave, you plant agave, you help, chop it with machetes and mill it. And, you learn the whole process directly from the producers. And that's really cool too, because it's like Spiritu's been open 7 years. So we've been going, we've been not only seeing our agave that we've planted grow, but, we've been seeing the oldest son in the family, learn English. We've been seeing the grandkids go to school. We have real relationships with Octavio and Pepe and Lorena.
You're not Mexican, right?
Yeah, I've been told.
But you're all in, and
I didn't mean to be. I did not.
You were a nice Loyola student, and they don't recognize you now. What you've done with this business.
I came on board. I didn't actually open Espiritu. I came on board about 3 months after they opened because they needed a bartender that could write a cocktail program. So the original owners were Jason Mitzen and Nanjo Dominguez. And Nanjo is Mexican, and Jason lived in Mexico for a very long time and is a master mezcalier. So he's the one really behind that program. And yeah, they opened Espiritu. They had food, they had mezcal, but they didn't have cocktails, and that's where I came in.
Danielle, is there any environmental issues with using glitters? Like, is it biodegradable or?
So we have a traditional glitter product, but we also have our what we call our eco glitter. The eco glitter, I really try to promote it, but it hasn't been as well received. And part of it, there's a bit more complication with wearing it. Because it's a biodegradable product, it cannot live in a gel. A gel starts to kind of degrade the product. So you have to have a separate way to put it on. So you have to put down like some sort of sticky something, and then you have to place the glitter on top. So it makes it a little bit more complex for people. And in terms of glitter and the environment, like honestly, washing your clothes creates more microplastics than, say, a glitter that I'm going to wear on my face. But we are, again, teaching people how to take it off properly so you're not washing it down the drain into the water system. So again, we always say dry removal, throw it away, opposed to wash it off in the shower.
Now I'm trying to picture. I'm looking at you, and you have your own glitter on. Is it peeled off from the side, and the glitter is kind of sprinkled into the base?
So honestly, so I'm wearing one of our what I call shimmers. It's a face and body shimmer, and I just literally swiped it on with a little applicator. And again, tonight my lint roller lives on my bathroom sink, and when I go to take it off, I'm just literally going to roll my face and then wash my face and get ready for my bedtime routine from there.
Yeah, I've got a tiny little lint roller that I got from like the dollar store that lives on my vanity for the same reason, thanks to Electra Cosmetics.
I like the fact that when you walked in, Danielle, and you showed your product, everybody here had used it. Everybody that's come to the show, so that's pretty great.
I feel very fortunate to have been very embraced here in New Orleans with my product. And, I do have, it's interesting listening to you and talk about your collectors, because I do have collectors locally that when I would produce a new color, they would be like, oh, I need that color too. So it's really, I don't know, it warms your heart to think that people relate to your brand and that they want to try new colors, new products, that sort of thing.
So you get some of your ideas, maybe most of your ideas, from customers.
Customers do give me ideas. I also, do custom colors for clients. So, like I said, we've worked with some corporate accounts that have, like, LCMC has hired us to make a glitter blend that matches their brand, and they give a little extra. It's called a little extra. They give that out when they have events, community events. So,
do people have glitter parties?
Yes, people have glitter parties. People have their little vanity at home with their glitters as well. So,
because we recently had on the woman that started painting with a twist, and those are parties. I was thinking that'd be something you could do.
Yeah, we do. We host bachelorette parties. We do Deb parties. We also, a lot of the conventions that come to town, we've sparkled up True Hardware, all of the people that came in from all over the country to go to their conference.
But if you added tequila,
yes,
yeah, that's where this show comes in together. People have various explanations to why things happen the way they do. Haley, you were kind enough to cover a couple of bar shifts for a friend, and that led eventually to you becoming an authority on mezcal and owning Espiritu. Danielle, your unplanned encounter with a person who was selling a glitter company led you away from a life in healthcare and into a career in cosmetics. Whether you put these inciting incidences down to the universe having a plan for you, sheer chance, or simply a series of bold decisions, there's no doubt that the hard work you've put in since starting down these paths has really turn these intriguing ideas into booming businesses. It's been great to meet both of you. I look forward to keeping up with you and following your continued success. Thank you both, Haley and Danielle, for taking the time to join me today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Peter. I'm sorry for throwing all the Spanish at you.
Oh. My guests on Out to Lunch today have been Haley Saucier, owner of Espiritu Mezcaleria, and Danielle Smith, owner of Electric Cosmetics. We edited the show to fit into the time slot here on WWNO. You can hear our unedited conversation and find out more about Haley's Mezcal and Danielle's Glitter by listening to the Out to Lunch podcast. You can find and subscribe to the Out to Lunch podcast on your podcast app and on our website, itsneworleans.com. If you want to know what we all look like, you can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Out to Lunch social media. These photos were taken today by Jill LaFleur. You can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com and WWNO 89.9 FM. The producer of our show is Grant Morris, our technical producer is Eric Merle, and our researcher is Amy Irvin. I'm Peter Raschuti. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the lunch table for more business New Orleans style on Out to Lunch.
Out to Lunch was recorded live at Columns on St. Charles Avenue. Columns serves lunch and dinner 7 days a week, hosts weddings and private events, features evenings of live jazz and more. Reservations for dining and hotel rooms are at thecolumns.com. Columns is a member of New Orleans & Company. More information at neworleans.com. Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Luba Workers' Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com. And by JP Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, JP Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com. Mitchell Foreman wrote and performs all the music on Out to Lunch. You can hear Mitchell's music anywhere great jazz is sold or streamed, and at mitchellforeman.com.